testing, testing, 1 2 3, testing. कितनी नहीं वो सही है क्योंकि जैसे ये क्या किया मैंने कैमरे से देख सकते हैं मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ हाँ ठीक है
صلوات. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعاديات ضبحا فالموريات قدحا فالمغيرات صبحا فأثرن به نقعا فوسطن به جمعا إن الإنسان لربه لكنود وإنه على ذلك لشهيد وإنه لحب الخير لشديد أفلا يعلم إذا بعثر ما في القبور وحصل ما في الصدور إن ربهم بهم يومئذ لخبير. صدق الله العلي العظيم. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. I swear by the runners breathing pantingly, then those that produce fire striking, then those that make raids at morn, then thereby raise dust, then rush thereby upon an assembly. Most surely man is ungrateful to his Lord, and most surely he is a witness of that, and most surely he is tenacious in the love of wealth. Does he not then know when what is in the graveyards, the graves is grazed, and what is in the breasts is made apparent? Most surely their Lord that day shall be fully aware of them. Sadaqallahul Aliyyul Azim.
بار دیگر نعرہ صلوات. رو کے معصوم کم، رو کے معصوم قم سے دیتی ہے صدا، اے میرے بھائی رضا، تیرا دیدار نہیں بھائی قسمت میں میری، دے ہواؤں کو ذرا حکم اے میرے علی، سن لوں آواز تیری، سن لوں آواز تیری، دل بہل جائے میرا، اے میرے بھائی رضا، دیکھنے آئی ہوں میں قم سے صورت تیری، اے غریب الغربا دیکھ غربت میری، کوئی بتلاتا نہیں، کوئی بتلاتا نہیں مجھ کو مشہد کا پتہ، اے میرے بھائی رضا، مجھ پہ جو بیت گئے وہ علم کچھ بھی نہیں، سامنے زینب کے میرے غم کچھ بھی نہیں، میں نہ بازار گئی، میں نہ بازار گئی، نہ چھنی میری ردا، اے میرے بھائی رضا، جب سے پہنچی ہوں میں قم دل ہے قابو میں کہاں غمزدہ آئے نظر شہر کے پیر و جوان دیکھ کر کالے علم دیکھ کر کالے علم دل دہلتا ہے میرا اے میرے بھائی رضا ہوں یتیمہ لیکن وہ یتیمہ تو نہیں قیدی بابا کی قسم میں سکینہ تو نہیں جس کے گوہر بھی چھنے جس کے گوہر بھی چھنے جس کا دامن بھی جلا اے میرے بھائی رضا جس جگہ خار چبھے جس جگہ تھک کے گری پوچھو چھالوں سے ذرا کیسے میلوں میں چلی زخم پیروں کے تمہیں زخم پیروں کے تمہیں غم سنائیں گے میرا اے میرے بھائی رضا اے غریب الغربا اے میرے بھائی رضا پر محمد والے محمد صلوات فاتحة لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه وأعوذ به من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد والثناء لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد ثم الصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين لا سيما سيدي ومولاي بقية الله في الأراضين روحي وأرواح العالم له الفداء رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي أعظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم. Condolences to all of you on these nights where we're commemorating the wafat of the Holy Prophet, the Shahadat of Imam al-Rida alayhi salatu wasalam. and according to some narrations, the Shahadat of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salatu wassalam. May Allah inshallah accept this form of zikr, this form of getting together as an ibadat from all of us, and may this be a source of us gaining further proximity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah. With the barakah wa salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. When you look at the books of theology, the books of aqaid, in the very introductory books, in the very beginner's level books, there's a concept that they talk about when they're trying to discuss if a person should believe in Allah or should not believe in Allah. What are the pros and what are the cons of believing in Allah or not believing in Allah? And one of the arguments that's presented is that assume, for example, that there was no God, hypothetically. Assume that there was no God. What is the probability of that? Whatever the probability might be. So there's one person who spends their entire life following the Sharia, praying, fasting, and so on and so forth. And there's another person who didn't understand that, so doesn't do that. Whatever the probability might be, that's one discussion. But another point is, what is the probable? So, for example, the probability of it raining tomorrow is 10%. Even if it rains, even if it's 90%, even if it rains, it doesn't make a difference. But what if there's a probability of severe thunderstorms? Even if the probability is only 10%, so probability of rain is 90%. Would it make a difference in your life? No, not really. You know, you sit in your car, you have 10 steps to wherever you're going from your car, and it's okay even if it's raining. What if there's a probability, a 20% probability of severe thunderstorms? Even though the probability is less, but you would take more precaution, right? You would take more precaution because it's severe thunderstorms. So they say that if you don't believe in Allah, or if you do believe in Allah, if you believe in Allah, you're going to spend 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. How long are you going to live? 80 years, 100 years, 100 years of following the Sharia. But what is the probable? That for eternity, you'll be in a good resting place. On the other side, if you spend 40, 50, 60, 80 years not following the Sharia, doing whatever it is that you would like to do, no rules. Okay, so you enjoy, according to their own understanding, enjoy life for a limited number of years, but for eternity then, there's a difficult place that they will be. So although the probability in this person's mind for who God is not clear might be low, but the probability is so severe that the conclusion is, even if you don't reach that conclusion, a wise person would still follow the Sharia, still take that precaution. Similarly, right? Sometimes you hear these discussions, you hear these arguments, you hear this, meta-intellectual arguments, which a normal person like me sometimes can't reach because it's super intellectual, that, the Imam is this, the Imam is that, the Imam doesn't have this, Imam doesn't have that. A very similar kind of reasoning can be used over here as well. If you don't believe the Imam to be who he really is because of your lack of understanding, okay, you're not going to attach yourself to him, you're not going to align yourself to him, you're not going to go for his ziyarah, you're not going to do tawassul to him. 80 years, okay, you don't have to do that, that's fine. But what is the probable? What is the probable? That all these hundreds and thousands of years of ulama, not ulama, anyone who comes and sits on the minbar, the likes of Allama Qadi, the likes of Ayatollah Bahjat, the likes of Ayatollah Marashi Najafi, the likes of Sayyid Khouy, the likes of Imam Khomeini, rahmatullah alayhim ajma'in, and so on and so forth. And I'm not even talking about the people before this, because a lot of us have never even heard of their names. But their teachers and their teachers. So this is not, again, the criteria is not just anyone who comes and sits on the minbar. For me, it's very easy. They tell me, okay, come sit, and I come up 3 stairs and I sit over here. That doesn't make a person a true alim. The criteria for someone who's a true alim is their proximity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when we're talking about these people, the likes of Ayatollah Bahjat rahmatullah alayhi, for example, who is probably more well known in our times, these are people who've taken those steps towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are people who've gained that proximity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And their experiences, these are people who take hands of people, who take hands of scholars, who take hands of the students of the Hawza, and take them along the path. These are experiences of such people that the connection to the Imam, the tawassul to the Imam, the ziyarah of the Imam, in addition to the ahadith that we have, what it's worth. So, as a layman, does it make sense for me to put all these Imams, all these holy personalities, who all these scholars have aligned themselves with, they've gotten the barakah from their ziyarah, they've gotten the barakah from their door, that I just set them aside? Does it make sense? Because of one argument that I heard, 2 arguments that I heard, all this history of thousands of years, I just set it aside? Right? It's not about coming and sitting in the room with the red carpet. That's the hunar. That's the status. The status is for who will they lay the red carpet down. Who will be able to elevate themselves. Who will be able to reach the levels where the malaika, where the close ones to the Imams, where the close ones to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come when it's our time and lay that red carpet down for us. Lay that red carpet down for us. When we look at Ziyarah Jama' Kabira, you hear these words, you hear these terms about that are showing the attributes, the realities of these Imams. These are the Khuzan al-Ilm. These are the places where ilm, where knowledge is stored. These are the Muntahul Hilm. This is the extremity of the hilm, of the kindness, of the forbearance. These are the awliya'un ni'am. This is where the source of the blessings come from. This is the ma'danur rahmah. This is the storage, the source of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we look at these Imams, when we look at these personalities, and their interaction with their followers, their interaction with the people who believe in them, their interaction with the people who come to them for ziyarah, Imam Rida alayhi salatu wasalam has a special place. He has a special place. Special place. All the Imams, all these infallibles, they're very similar in their attributes. Yet, each one has been given a specific term. Each one has been given a specific laqab. Each one has been given a specific kunya. And so on and so forth. The name that is used for the 8th Imam, Ali ibn Musa, is what? Ar-Rida alayhi salatu wassalam. Ar-Rida alayhi salatu wassalam. One of the understandings of this is that this is someone who is radi with Allah. Right? He's reached the level of Ridwan. And Allah is radi with him. Allah is radi with him. Another one of the understandings is that he is the one, if someone wants to reach that level of Ridwan, if someone wants to reach those high levels, then this is one of the sources through which to get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another one of the names that the 8th Imam is known by and is famous by, which is narrated through a hadith, which is a ziyarah through his son, the 9th Imam alayhi salatu wasalam. Recite a salawat please. Imam Jawad. Ma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Is Imam al-Ra'uf. This is the Imam who has that ra'fat, who has that kindness. Allama Tabatabai rahmatullah alayh, Sahib al-Mizan, the great philosopher, the great jurisprudent, the great mystic, the great scholar, our contemporary time, the Mufassir al-Quran. He says one of the reasons, perhaps, why Imam Rida is called Imam al-Ra'uf, because his ra'fat, his kindness, is very tangible. It's very tangible. It's something that people can feel, people can see in their lives. Ayatollah Wahid Khurasani, everyone heard of him? Right? A marja taqleed of our time. Ayatollah Wahid Khurasani. He was a student of a person called Mirza Habibullah Gulpaygani. Mirza Habibullah Gulpaygani. He said for 20 years I'd studied with him. And this, I studied in his school. And this is Ayatollah Wahid Khurasani narrating this. That my teacher, Ayatollah Habibullah Gulpaygani, who is also buried in the Haram of Mashhad. If you, inshallah, may Allah bless you all with the opportunity. He's buried near the grave of Sheikh Bahai. It's close. When you get there, inshallah, you can find it. This is a person who for 40 years, his namaz al-shab, his salat al-layl, he used to come to the door of the haram. And in the previous days, it wasn't like nowadays that, the haram is open 24 hours. That he used to pray his salat al-layl at the door of the haram, waiting for the door to open. Whether it's the cold winters of Mashhad, whether it's the hot summers, he was there 40 years. 40 years. Till he reached a point towards the end of his life where he was extremely sick. He was extremely sick. He was on his deathbed. And during this time, this is who narrating? Ayatollah Wahid Khurasani, from his teacher. That in a mukashifa I see that I'm in a garden of flowers. And over there, I see Imam al-Rida. So this, while he's on the deathbed, he says, 40 years, Imam Raza, I've come to your door. And now that I'm in need, now that it's my last moments, would you do something for me? And then he sees this mukashifa. He's there, he's in the garden, and Imam Rida smiles at him, and says, Habibullah, do you think we would just leave you like this? He picks out a flower from the garden and hands it to Habibullah Gulpaygani. He doesn't touch him, he doesn't hug him, he doesn't kiss him, picks a flower and gives it to Mirza Habibullah. And Mirza Habibullah says that once I took that flower, this right hand, I took it with the right hand. Every place that I rubbed this right hand on my body, it got cured. Not only this, after he got cured, there were people that from around the city that used to come to him, and whoever he put that hand on would get cured. See, let me clarify something over here, right? Because our community is sometimes divided on this, right? There's a part of the community who their entire iman, their entire belief is on these stories. Is sometimes on dreams, that someone somewhere had a dream and this is what happened. And then there's the other side of the community that says this is all worthless. You show me the hadith, you show me the chain of narrators, let's look at the chain of narrators one by one, and then we will conclude. And they reach a point where hadith kisa is not worth anything. Ziyarah Jami' Kabira is not worth anything. Dua Tawassul is not worth anything. Khair inshallah. Khair inshallah. The difference over here is what? It's not that someone somewhere in some faraway city saw this dream. We're talking about one of the maraji of your time who's living in Qum. We're talking about Ayatollah Wahid Khurasani living in Qum. An hour and a half flight away from where you are. An hour and a half flight away from you are. Is it not worth taking that flight if I have doubts? There's books after books. There's one, especially this book written by Ayatollah Shubayri Zanjani, one of the biggest maraji' of this time. Unfortunately, a lot of us outside of the circles of the Hawza have never heard of him. Ayatollah Shubayri Zanjani. His expertise is what? Hadith. He's a marja'. His expertise is hadith. He is the one until COVID time used to lead the prayers at the haram. The Salatul Maghribain, Ayatollah Shubayri Zanjani used to lead the prayers. He has a book, several volumes, where he narrates stories, not someone Fulan ibn Fulan in a certain city, with names, that this person said, that I heard from my father, I heard from my teacher, and so on and so forth. You don't need to go for chain of narrations, 1400 years, 1200 years. People who are alive in your time. Alive in your time. And there's several other scholars like this who have written books that are narrated with names, with references of where this happens. So this Mirza Habibullah Gul Paygani, with the barakah of Imam al-Ra'uf, of Imam al-Rida alayhi salatu wasalam, reaches a point where he is able to help cure people. God forbid, may Allah protect you and your families. If I'm one of those people, right? Not the ones who believe in every dream, Fulan ibn Fulan, and this is my entire iman, but I'm on the other end of the spectrum, where all of this doesn't mean anything to me. Forget this, the ziyarat don't mean anything to me. The ahadith, a lot of them don't mean anything to me. Bainak wa bain Allah. God forbid, your child is diagnosed with cancer. You hear that there's another Habibullah Gul Paygani who lives near the haram of Imam Rida alayhi salatu wasalam. Bainak wa bain Allah. Would you take your child to him or not? Would you take your child to him or not? Right? Remember where we started the discussion? There's a probability and there's a probable. What are we talking about? What is this probability about? Is it just a light rain? Or are we talking about severe thunderstorms? A lot of times, remember the verse we talked about yesterday? يَعْلَمُونَ ظَاهِرًا مِنَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَهُمْ عَنِ الْآخِرَةِ هُمْ غَافِلُونَ. That they only know the apparent of the world. And they're completely oblivious of the reality. The verse says, Anil akhirati, but akhirah is a place where the realities will be revealed. So, completely oblivious of the realities. I go to Imam al-Rida, I go to Imam Hussein, I go to Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wasalam, jami'an. What do I ask for? If I have that iman, I go ask for the cureness of my child, the cureness of my neighbor, the long life of my mother, my father, my job, my business, have I ever asked them for curing my heart? Isn't that where the true sickness lies? Isn't that where the true sickness lies? If I go to the haram, right? If I go to the haram and I'm asking for what? I'm asking for, oh Allah, oh Imam Rida, oh Allah, give me, a better job. Give me this. I'm having difficulty with my expenses. Give me all of that is okay. There's no one other than Allah who gives that as well. But do I realize the purpose of my creation? Is it whether I eat, mutton, or I eat chicken, or I eat dal? Is that the purpose of my creation? Is that what I should be asking for? I can ask for that. But is there anything beyond that? Is there anything beyond that? So Imam Rida alayhi salatu wasalam, especially for us who are right next to him, do we understand that importance? Do we give that importance? Do we go for the ziyarah? Right next to him. Within 2 hours you'll be there. Within 2 hours. Do I understand the importance of that? Do I understand the importance of that? Ayatollah Bahjat rahmatullah alayh. This is, for the ones who are really into this, Ali ibn Bahjat. Ali ibn Muhammad Taqi al-Bahjat, for your sake. His son, who still lives in the same house where Ayatollah Bahjat used to live. Close to the haram. I'll give you the complete address if you want to go to his house. You can knock the door and he will open the door. You can ask him himself if this is true or not. But this is something that he's narrating. He says, my father Ayatollah Bahjat, rahmatullah alayh, when he started his studies in Najaf, he had a friend of his called Ayatollah Fahri. He wasn't Ayatollah back then. And they had known each other for 60, 70 years. Decades they had known each other. He says towards the end of their lives, Ayatollah Fahri came to Ayatollah Bahjat, to his house. And he says that the haqq that I had as a friend, you did not do wafa to that haqq, to Ayatollah Bahjat. And his son says that Ayatollah Bahjat started crying. This is Ayatollah Bahjat who's so careful about the huquq, the haqq of Allah, the haqq nas, this, that, everything. Every step he takes in his life, so careful. Someone comes and tells him that you did not do wafa to the haqq that I had over you as a friend. And he says, how come? He says, you found the way. You found Allama Qadhi to take your hand and take you down the path. Alhamdulillah. But me, the son of Zahra, one of the Sadat, I didn't know where to go. But you did not come help me. The haqq I had as a friend over you was for you to help me. Anything that you found out, you help me as well. You take me along the path. And Ayatollah Bahjat is crying. He's crying. And then he says, you know what? I'm 80 years old now. I don't know if any of this will help me anymore. But for the sake of this, tell me something that you've received from Imam Rida. Alayhi salatu wassalam. And he says, if it was anyone other than you, and if you didn't put me in this position where you were smart and you played the right cards and you said my haqq I would never have said this. But he says that Imam Rida told me 10 things, but I'm only going to share one thing for you, one thing with you. And he says that he told me, is it possible that one of the lovers of ours, the lovers of the Ahlul Bayt, comes to our door and we don't give them panah? Is it possible? Can you imagine that? That anyone comes to our door, and we don't give them panah? And this is something that we see in Karbala as well. We see in Karbala, Abi Abdullah alayhi salatu wasalam, throughout the journey, the people who he's trying to bring in, not to protect himself, to protect them. To protect them. And there's stories. You look at the maqatil, you look at the history, there's stories and stories. But this is the epitome of it. Epitome of it. That some narrate that when it was the last moments of Abi Abdullah alayhi salatu wasalam, and he's talking to Shimr, la'natullah alayhi. He's talking to Shimr. And even then, he's trying to tell him that, listen, forgo killing me and be saved. This is after they've killed Ali Akbar. After they've trampled the body of Qasim. After Anu Muhammad. After Abbas. After Ali Asghar. It's easy for me to say it. And it's easy for you to hear this. These are things that Abi Abdullah saw with his eyes in one day. Right? We come in Muharram, and the first day we say, okay, we'll do the musibah of this, second day, so on and so forth, third, fourth, till we get to, the Bani Hashim, Ali Akbar, Qasim, on Muhammad, Hazrat Abbas, alayhimus salam ajma'een. We listen to the Masaib, one person a night, and we can't handle it. These are Masaib, not that he just heard, he saw with his eyes. He saw with his eyes, not through the course of 10 days, in one afternoon. One afternoon. After having seen this, still at the last moments, gives that last invitation. Ma'dinur Rahmah. These are the sources of Rahmah. These are the sources of Rahmah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Rahman, is Rahim. But He is the one who in the Quran says that the Holy Prophet is Rahmatul lil Alameen. That Rahmah is passed on from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the Holy Prophet and to the Imams. What am I doing in life? Do I truly believe in these personalities? Do I truly understand the reality of these personalities? Do I truly understand the reality? If I did, right, the hadith that I quoted yesterday as well, from the 6th Imam alayhi salatu wasalam. لو يعلم الناس ما في زيارة قبر الحسين من الفضل لماتوا شوقا. If people knew the fazl and the barakah and the rewards in the ziyarah of the qabr of Abi Abdullah, they would have died with that want to go to Karbala. And this is not something that we can always understand. Right? I'm not saying this extreme or that extreme, but I'm telling you the medium, the midway, that yes, we understand things through rationality, through the intellect, intellectualize things. But if that rationality is not able to transcend my mind and settle into my heart and overtake my heart, then that rationality is garbage. Garbage. So understanding, if I understood the reality of the ziyarah of Abi Abdullah, lamatu shawqa, lamatu shawqa. Same thing over here. If I understood the reality of the ziyarah of the Imams, and especially Imam Rida, Gharib al-Ghuraba, alayhi salatu wasalam, if I understood that, we know people in history are scholars who every moment they got in their lives, they went for the ziyarah. If you and I understood the reality of the ziyarah, I swear to you, no one would worry about, I don't have enough money, or I'm worried about traveling so and so, such and such place, because I have to take care of this and I have to take care of that, if they truly believed. And I'm not saying, but by any means, I'm not saying that if someone is not able to do that, I understand that people have limitations. I completely understand that. So I'm not by any means saying that if someone is not doing that, then they have a shortcoming. Not by any means. I understand. But I'm talking about people who within their own minds create these limitations. Within their own minds create these limitations. This story is also narrated from one of the maraji of the time. If I were to mention the name, there's not a single person who would not know, who would not recognize. What do they say? There's a village near the city of Mashhad by the name of Azghad. Back in the day, there was an old lady who used to run a madrasa, kind of like, similar to what we sometimes have. Because back in the day, they used to have, right, in the villages and stuff, they used to have, a person who had maybe studied a little bit of Quran, studied a little bit of Sharia, and they're the ones who used to teach that, even back home, right? Whether you come from Pakistan, whether you come from India, whether you come from other places, that's how it was back in the day, that an generally older person used to do that. There was this old lady who had this maktab, who had this madrasa in her village called Azghad. This is being narrated from a marja taqlid. And he says that this lady used to teach the children Quran, namaz, and so on and so forth. And to encourage them, she always used to give them gifts. A poor lady used to give them gifts, used to encourage them, gift after gift after gift. The alim of the community, of the village, came to her and says, Mu'allima, where do you get all this from? I know how you live. I know your life. Where do you get all this from? And she says, from Imam Riza, very casually. If you could please just recite one more or three loud salawats and just move forward, please. So she very casually says, from Imam Riza. And he's surprised. What is she talking about? What is she talking about? One of the times that she wanted to go to Mashhad from her village, he says, I got onto the bus before she could. And I went and sat in a corner where she couldn't see me. Got onto the bus. I wanted to see what exactly does she do. What exactly does she do? So they reach Mashhad. And he sees that she went in for ziyarah. In the olden times, now if you've gone, you see that there's a separation by a glass, men and women. In the olden days, it wasn't like that, right? It was less people, of course, and it was just there. So he sees that I see her going to the dari, and I see that She's standing there for a long time. Standing there for a long time. And then she walks out. So I see her outside and I ask her, Mu'allima, what happened? It took you really long. And she says, oh, you're here as well? Alhamdulillah, you're here as well? Yeah, I came for ziyarah. But it took you really long. And she says, Imam al-Rida asked about every single child. How's this child doing? How's that child doing? How's their Quran? How are your children? So it took a little bit of time. And then what he really wanted to know is like, and did you get any money? And she opens her hands and he sees there's a lot of money. And he again says, where do you get this from? And she says, wait, don't you go for the ziyarah of Imam Raza? So something very casually, something that she understood, that if a person who understood the reality of the Imam, who was close to the Imam, it was casual for us, it was understood for her, that anyone who goes for the ziyarah of Imam al-Rida, it's impossible for them to come back without their hands full. So there's people who've reached these levels, right? Remember what I said? An alim is not a person who just gets up on the minbar. So same thing over here. It's not necessarily the alim of the village, but the person who's been able to elevate themselves and get close to the Imam, get close to Allah, has been able to nurture that proximity within themselves. Right? You see some schools of thoughts, right? Some other schools of thoughts where there's so much focus on, and it's a good thing, it's Allah and nothing else, right? That's what they tell us, right? What is all this stuff you believe in? It's only Allah. Alhamdulillah, I'm with you. Okay, Bismillah, next step. Do you see in their lives that these are people? Is it reflected in the way they walk? Is it reflected in the way they talk? Is it reflected in the way they carry themselves? Is it reflected in their ideology? When you look at them, does it remind you of Allah? Does it remind you of Allah? Isn't this a reality that we know? That anyone who gets close to Allah, right? There's different terms for it. Either he's gained proximity to Allah, or he's become a manifestation of His attributes, or he's reached perfection, and so on and so forth. Do you see that these schools of thoughts who talk about Tawheed and nothing else, do you see in the way they talk, in the way they walk, in the way they carry themselves, in the way they interact with people, that this is a reflection of Allah? And the worst of those cases, you see them slaughtering people who believe in Allah. Is this not what we see in our world today? So this is a litmus test, right? It's not 100%, but even the awam, right? The quote-unquote layman. Let me ask you a question, right? All of you, alhamdulillah, you come to the majalis, whether it's in Dubai, whether it's wherever you were from. Okay? They always talk about, right, the scholars, they think they sit up all the way over here so they can talk down to us. No, I have to talk down because my volume needs to reach you. But, God forbid, talk down to people. May Allah protect you guys. But is it not the case? Right? You look at the people who've come on this minbar, who've come on the minbar in your home cities, in your home countries, wherever. Can you not tell those who act according to what they say and who don't act according to what they say? Can you not see, right? You don't have to be a mujtahid to be able to see that. A lot of these things, there are some mistakes, but a lot of these things are things that people can see. Do you not see the people who live according to the principles of the Holy Prophet and his family, and the ones who don't live according to that? Don't be shy. It's okay, I won't go tell them. Is that not the case? I know it's the case because I've heard you talk about them. I know it's the case. Right? And there sometimes are mistakes in that judgment. But at the end of the day, when you live with someone, when you see someone for 10 days, for 20 days, if you're living with them, eventually you'll understand, is this a person who reminds me of Allah? Is this a person who I can take as a role model? Is this a person who I can give my child's hand into their hands to take them on the journey towards Allah? These are things that you can see. These are things that you can feel. Right? These are things that you can feel. So don't discredit that completely. Don't discredit that completely. Whenever someone comes up with a new theory, whenever someone comes up with a theory, and this is what it is, this is the Islam, and this is the true Islam, and this is, have a look at their life as well. I'm not discounting the studies and the sciences. It has its own importance, no doubt. But just as a litmus test, this person who is the standard bearer, alam bardar of Tawheed, do I see any Tawheed in their life? Even 0.5%? Do I see any reflection in their life? The way they live, the way they talk, the way they carry themselves? Or am I just that naive that I figured out everything else in life? It's just this one thing I couldn't figure out? Am I not going to be asked about this? Was the purpose of life just to get stuck in the rut of life? Join the rat race. Bismillah, welcome to the rat race. Let's go. And whatever I understood of religion was just theoretical. Arguing against this person, debating against that person, proving the Sunnis wrong, proving the Wahhabis wrong, proving this wrong, proving that wrong. Is this the only purpose left? And especially in the subcontinent. Anyone who wants to learn something, you'll be surprised. A huge majority of them. Why do they want to ask? Because online they want to reply to a Sunni person. Habibi, what about yourself? Do you want to take a step towards Allah? Do you want to, for the sake of yourself, take a step towards what the purpose of your creation is? Or is your entire purpose to prove this person wrong and prove that person wrong? I guarantee you, that is not ilm. That is not knowledge. That will not have barakah. That will not have barakah. Everyone does their own responsibility. Yes, if I go and learn for the sake of learning and I reach a point where it becomes a responsibility upon me, then yes. The difa of the religion, of the ideology, of the deen is a responsibility. Is a responsibility. So brothers and sisters, understanding that we don't lose our way along the path. We don't lose our way. Because Imam al-Rida alayhi salatu wasalam is Allah. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajah. He's so ra'uf. Again, it's not just dreams. It's ahadith. It's experiences of scholars who've reached the highest levels. It's not fiction. It's not fiction. Remember that discussion we had at the start. There's a probability of something, and then there's the probable. If it's 90% chance that there's going to be rain tomorrow, you might not do anything different. But if there's 20% chance that there's severe thunderstorms tomorrow, you will take those precautions. 90%, you won't take a precaution. 20%, you will take a precaution. Similarly over here, leaving the door, leaving the dar of the Ahlul Bayt, and as Mirza Habibullah was, spending entire night at the dar of the Ahlul Bayt. What is the probable? This world is 60, 70, 80 years. And after this, there's eternity. Eternity. Hadith from Imam al-Rida alayhi salatu wassalam. Man zarani ala bu'd dari. Whoever comes for my ziyarah, even though it's far. Right? So it's obviously not for the people of Dubai, because it's close for us. Right? He's talking to the people of Medina, perhaps. Man zarani ala bu'd dari. Whoever comes to my ziyarah, even though it's far, أتيته يوم القيامة في ثلاثة مواطن. I will come to them on the day of judgment at 3 places. 3 places. What are these 3 places, O Imam? One is when the book of deeds will be given either in the right hand or the left hand. Right? If I'm someone who doesn't need help at that time, Bismillah, leave the dar of Imam Rida. Bismillah. The second place is on the sirat. You know, we've heard this, right? Like sharper than a blade and thinner than a hair, and regardless, it's definitely one of those places that will be more difficult than anything we've faced in this world. And may Allah, inshallah, for the sake of our proximity to Him, for the sake of the Ahlul Bayt, make it easy for all of us, inshallah. And the third one is where? وَعِنْدَ الْمِيزَانِ. When the deeds will be weighed. This is a promise from Imam al-Rida alayhi salam. This is a promise from him. That you come to me, and I will come to you. I will come to you. The Imam al-Ra'uf, increase our understanding, increase our ma'rifah, so through them we can reach that ultimate purpose of gaining that proximity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of gaining that perfection, of reaching that point, the reason that you and I were created for. The reason that you and I were created for. So both things are incorrect. You know, some of us, our understanding just goes to Imam al-Hussein and that's it. Nothing before him, nothing after him. That's incomplete. The purpose that Imam Hussein came and gave these sacrifices was so you and I can reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then there's the other side where, you know, the tawheed that we talked about. Tawheed, only tawheed. Yes, only tawheed. But is there a path to that tawheed? Did the Holy Prophet talk about that tawheed? Did the Imams talk about that tawheed? So understanding that when we move forward towards Allah, towards this journey of life, that we try to take that balanced approach where we benefit from everything that's been given to us. That's been given to us. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba al-Hasan. Sallallahu alayk Ya Ali ibn Musa al-Rida. Sallallahu alayk Sallallahu alayk. There's a hadith narrated through the 5th Imam where he narrates from his father Imam al-Sajjad, from his father Imam al-Hussein, from his father Amir al-Mu'mineen, who narrates from the Holy Prophet, and he says, "Satudfanu bid'atun minni bi ardi Khurasan." that there will be a part of me that will be buried in the land of Khurasan. Anyone who does ziyarah of them with any sort of difficulties, he will relieve them of those difficulties. Anyone who visits him with any sins, his sins will be forgiven. There's two places where the Holy Prophet uses this term, bid'atum minni. That is part of me. One is for Imam al-Rida, and one is for his daughter Sayyida Zahra, salamullah alayha. Salamullah alayha. It's narrated that Ma'mun asked Imam al-Rida to come to the darbar. Come to the darbar. And as he's going over there, he tells his companions, Aba Salt, that, oh Aba Salt, if I come out with the Abba over my head, then don't talk to me. But if I don't have the Abba over my head, then it's okay. And Imam al-Rida goes in, and the narration, the history says that he was served grapes. He was served with fruit, and he was forced to eat them. Until he eats that, and he comes out of the darbar, and Aba Sa'd sees that Imam al-Rida is coming with his Abba over his head. The poison has already started affecting his body. Where some narrations have said that he sits down on the floor as he comes out, and his house was not that far from the darbar, but on his way home he sits on the floor several times because he's affected by the poison. The Tariq says, the history says, that when Imam al-Rida was leaving Medina, he brought his family together at the mazar, at the marqad of Rasulullah, and he told them to cry for him. And the family said, Ya Yabna Rasulullah, it's just a journey and you will be back. He said, no, this is the journey that has no return. He goes to Medina. He goes to Khurasan, and then he gets poisoned. He comes out, reaches the house. Aba Salt is there till, according to the narrations, Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam reaches there, and he does the tadfeen, and he does the kafn and the tadfeen of his father. This is the Imam al-Rida who went to the house, who went to the mazar of the Holy Prophet, and told the women folk to do a majlis for him, to cry for him. This is the Imam al-Rida who the Holy Prophet says is the bid'atum minni. But when we look at history, we see that there was another person कि रसूल खुदा ने अपनी बेटी ज़हरा को भी कहा था बिदअतुम मिन्नी, ये मेरे दिल का टुकड़ा है, ये मेरे दिल का टुकड़ा है. लेकिन मुसलमानों ने कोई ख्याल नहीं किया, बीवी का कोई ख्याल नहीं किया. इमाम रज़ा जब चाहते थे मदीना से बाहर आए तो ख़वातीन को, बीवियों को जमा किया, कहा मेरे ऊपर थोड़ा रो लो, लेकिन आए मैं कुर्बान जाऊँ आपके जद पर. करबला में जब बीवियां रोना चाहती थी तो मौला ने कहा नहीं, ज़ैनब अभी नहीं, रबाब अभी नहीं, अभी आपका सफर आगे है, अभी आपके रोने ابھی آپ کو آگے بھی جانا ہے، ابھی کوفہ رہ گیا ہے، ابھی شام رہ گیا. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. ماتم حسین.
شاہ خراساں کا آتا جنازہ ہے، مشہد کے مہماں کا آتا جنازہ ہے. تابوت ہے یہ بھی زہرا کے بیٹے کا، پڑھتے ہیں سب نوحہ شیعوں کے مولا کا آتا جنازہ ہے. شہر خراساں میں ماتم ہوا برپا، روتے ہیں ہر ذرہ، قرآن کے وارث کا آتا جنازہ ہے. معصوم کم کو کیسے خبر دیں گے، روئیں گے تڑپیں گے، بی بی کے بھیا کا آتا جنازہ ہے. ریحان روتا ہے تابوت مولا پر، آنکھیں لہو سے تر، آقا کا مولا کا آتا جنازہ ہے. یوں فاطمہ کہتی تھی بھیا میرے پردیسی، یوں فاطمہ کہتی تھی بھیا میرے پردیسی، یہ کیسی خبر پائی بھیا میرے پردیسی، یوں فاطمہ کہتی تھی بھیا میرے پردیسی، یوں فاطمہ کہتی تھی بھیا میرے پردیسی، یہ کیسی خبر پائی یاد میرے پردیسی. نکلے تھے جب وطن سے کہتے تھے یہ بہن سے، نکلے تھے جب وطن سے کہتے تھے یہ بہن سے، رکھنا خیال اپنا بھیا میرے پردیسی، یوں فاطمہ کہتی تھی بھیا میرے پردیسی، یوں فاطمہ کہتی تھی بھیا میرے پردیسی، یہ کیسی ختم آئی بھیا میرے پردیسی. روتے ہیں آسماں بھی روتی ہے یہ زمیں بھی, روتے ہیں آسماں بھی روتی ہے یہ زمیں بھی, پڑھ کر تمہارا نوحہ بھیا میرے پردیسی. یوں فاطمہ کہتی بھیا میرے پردیسی, یوں فاطمہ کہتی
بھیا میرے
پردیسی. یہ کیسی خبر
آئی بھیا میرے
گھبرائی ہے زینب, آیا ہے مدینہ. گھبرائی ہے زینب, آیا ہے مدینہ. گھبرائی ہے زینب, آیا ہے مدینہ. گھبرائی ہے زینب, آیا ہے. ایک سال گزارا ہے زندان ستم میں, دن باقی گزارے گی زینب اسی غم میں. مقتل میں ہے اصغر, زندہ میں سکینہ. گھبرائی ہے زینب, آیا ہے مدینہ. گھبرائی ہے زینب, اے اہل مدینہ تو خاموش ہی رہنا, زینب سے خدا را تو ایک لفظ نہ کہنا. جو سانسیں بچی ہے کھو دے گی حزینہ. گھبرائی ہے زینب, آیا ہے مدینہ. گھبرائی ہے زینب, آیا ہے مدینہ. گھبرائی ہے زینب, ہر بات بتا دوں گی جب پوچھے گی صغرا. بالوں کی سفیدی کا بتلاؤں سبب کیا تھا, اس سے تو بہتر زندان میں جینا. گھبرائی ہے زینب, آیا ہے مدینہ. گھبرائی ہے زینب, آیا ہے مدینہ. گھبرائی ہے زینب, آیا ہے مدینہ. سب کچھ تو لٹائی پردیس میں زینب, مظلومہ مسافر یہ کیا جی کے کرے اب. بن بھائی کے اب تو دشوار ہے جینا. گھبرائی ہے زینب, آیا ہے مدینہ. گھبرائی ہے مدینہ. گھبرائی ہے زینب, زینب کے خیالوں میں آواز یہ آئی, محمل سے اتر کر جب فضا نے صدا دی. دل تھام لو بی بی, ہے ہے دل تھام لو بی بی, آیا ہے مدینہ. گھبرائی ہے زینب,
میرا مولا رضا ہے. مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے. مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے. مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے جس کو زہر لوگوں مسلمان نے دیا ہے جس کو زہر لوگوں مسلمان نے دیا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے جس کو زہر لوگوں مسلمان نے دیا ہے جس کو زہر لوگوں مسلمان نے دیا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے سب آنکھیں کرو بند دعا ہی ہے دعائی ایک بی بی عزادار یا شام سے آئی لپٹی ہے جنازے سے نہیں سر پھیرتا ہے جنازے سے نہیں سر پھیرتا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے جنازے پہ نبی شاہ امم بھی کلثوم رقیہ بھی معصوم کل بھی وہ بی ہے کربل میں جلی جس کی ابا ہے وہ بی ہے کربل میں جلی جس کی ابا ہے یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے جس کو زہر لوگوں مسلمان نے دیا ہے جس کو زہر لوگوں مسلمان نے دیا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے روتے ہیں فرشتے بھی زمین اور زماں بھی ہے لوح قلم عرش بری کون و مکان بھی خیر النساء کے لالی کے ماتم کی سزا ہے لال کے ماتم کی صدا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا 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 ہے پڑ جائے درارے نہ کہیں چاند کو من میں ہے آگ لگی فاطمہ زہرا کے چمن میں مولا کا جگر زہر سے ٹکڑوں میں بٹا ہے کا جگر سے ٹکڑوں میں بٹا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے
رضا ہے جس کو زہر لو کو مسلمان نے دیا ہے جس کو زہر لو کو مسلمان نے دیا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے ظالم نے زہر دے دیا یہ بھی نہ سوچا غربت میں مسافر ہے وطن دور ہے تنہا بتلاؤ کہ کس جرم کی لوگوں یہ سزا ہے بتلاؤ کہ کس جرم کی لوگوں یہ سزا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے عابد بیمار تھا وہ عابد بیمار تھا چلنے سے جو لاچار تھا چلنے سے جو لاچار تھا اور شام کا بازار تھا اور شام کا بازار تھا اور مصطفیٰ کی بیٹیاں ہے زینب ہے شام ہے زینب ہے شام ہے زینب ہے شام شبیر کی وہ لاڈلی شبیر کی وہ لاڈلی سینے پہ جوش آگے پلی سینے پہ جوش آگے پلی جس کی ابابن میں جلے جس کی ابابن میں جلے منہ پر تماچوں کے نشان مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین
بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Tomorrow's program for ladies and gents begins at 8 p.m. with recitation of the Holy Quran, Marsiya, English Madlis by Sayyid Ali Zaidi and Matam. After ziyarat, niyaz will be served. Please note that gates on every night will close at 10:30 p.m. sharp. Hence, we request all Mu'mineen to have their niyaz quickly, and we request everybody to exit the Imam Barga at the earliest, please. To maintain a smooth flow of traffic around the Imam Barga, we urge all not to double park on the roads around the Imam Barga even for a second to drop their families. Even if you have small children, we request you to park and walk to the Imam Barga. Mu'mineen are also kindly requested only to use the lay-by of the old ladies' entrance for the elderly and physically challenged. We request the young mothers and ladies to walk to their cars. For those coming with their drivers, you're also requested to inform them not to park at the lay-by area and wait as it is only used for pickup and drop-off. Please let us avoid any congestion on the roads around the Imam Barga as to not inconvenience our mu'mineen and any of our neighbors. Surah Fatiha Namaz Hadiya Mayyit is requested for Marhuma Salma Bai Azad Hansraj, who passed away on Friday 30th of August and was buried in London today. Marhuma was an ex-resident of Dubai and the wife of Marhum Azad Hansraj, mother of brother Ali Jawad Hansraj, ex-Dubai, sister Zahra Mukhtar, ex-Dubai, and sister Sadaf Fatima of Dubai, sister Narjis Aziz of ex-Dubai, sister-in-law of sister Jenny Sharif of Dubai, mother-in-law of sister Najia Hansraj, brother Mukhtar Aziz, both ex-Dubai, and brother Muhammad Hassan Shabir of Dubai. Tonight's majlis is also in benefit of Marhuma Salma Bai Azad Hansraj. Surah Fatiha is also requested for Kul Marhumin, Mu'mineen wal Mu'minat. Al-Fatiha. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'een. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Dua Shifa Marid is requested for Kul Mu'mineen who are unwell, as well as for a 19-year-old Mu'min hospitalized in Dubai. Tawajjuh Ziyarat.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أما يجيب المضطر إذا يكشف أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء 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 بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم كن لوليك الجد بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا وصل يا رب على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. السلام عليك يا رسول الله السلام عليك يا نبي الله السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين سيد الوصين إمام المتقين قائد الغر المحجلين مولانا علي بن أبي طالب السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدتي نساء العالمين وقرة عين رسول رب العالمين السلام عليك يا أبا محمد الحسن بن علي المجتبى السلام عليكم أئمة البقي علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين خصوصا سيدي ومولاي بالفضل العباس وأختيك زينب وأم كلثوم وبنتك سكينة وعلى ابن عمك مسلم بن عقيل السلام عليك يا موسى بن جعفر الكاظم باب الحوائج. السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي التقي الجواد. السلام عليك يا علي بن محمد النقي الناصح الأمين. السلام عليك يا حسن الزكي العسكري ورحمة الله وبركاته. زيارة إمام رضا. السلام عليك يا معين الضعفاء والفقراء. السلام عليك يا مغيث الشيعة والزوار في يوم الجزاء. السلام عليك يا أنيس النفوس. السلام عليك أيها المدفون بأرض توس. السلام عليك يا علي بن موسى الرضا والتحية والثناء. السلام عليك وعلى آبائك السبعة وأبنائك الأربعة. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. صلى الله عليك يا ابن الزهراء يا صاحب الزمان. سيدي الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان. السلام عليك يا ابن الحسن يا صاحب الزمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن وكعبة الإيمان وإمامنا وإمام الإنس والجان. عجل الله لك ما وعدك من النصر وظهور الأمر ورحمة الله وبركاته. والفاتحة مع الصلوات.